Headlines for this hour on VTV News. Party chief asked for greater efforts to implement system streamlining scheme. And lights on in southwestern coastal islands. Later on in world news, intensify contact with Syrian transitional government.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm attended the national conference in Hanoi on Monday to review 2024 party building activities and define tasks for 2025. He emphasized the need for a scheme to streamline the political system, organizational apparatus in association with personnel restructuring.
Addressing the event, the party chief recognized the outcomes of the work in 2024 and since the beginning of the 13th tenure. He asked heads of party committees and central human resources affairs agencies to focus on making the party and state apparatus more effective. They had to ensure all officials were enthusiastic about serving the nation, the people, and the party, and explain why personnel affairs are key in these efforts. He underscored that the most important task of 2025 is streamlining the political systems apparatus.
Streamlining the political systems apparatus is challenging and impacts various individuals and organizations. Therefore, this process must be approached with objectivity, caution, democracy, scientific reasoning, and a systematic methodology. While streamlining is essential, it must progress at a pace that ensures the achievement of multiple goals. In areas where shortages occur, it remains necessary to add personnel to maintain the effective operation of the apparatus.
The party leader said that the process must adhere to the principles and viewpoints of the party, ensuring alignment with the Constitution, the Partiero's political platform and charter, and other party resolutions. He asked for a prompt review of relevant party regulations for supplementation, adjustment, and replacement. In addition, he stressed the role of party-building agencies in proposing and preparing for the 14th National Party Congress.
In anticipation of the 14th National Party Congress, it is essential to thoroughly prepare and organize party congresses at all levels. Priority should be given to advising on its development, ensuring the quality of the Congress's draft documents, and providing guidance for the election of party leadership at each level. Attention must also be directed toward preparing personnel for the new-term party committees. Thirdly, it is crucial to continue enhancing its strategic advisory role, emphasizing personnel work as a cornerstone of success.
Party General Secretary Tô Lâm called on the entire party-building sector to enhance its understanding of its roles and responsibilities, maintain the highest political determination to accomplish all assigned tasks, and contribute to exceeding the targets and objectives set for the year and the entire term.
Party General Secretary Tô Lâm chaired the 12th conference of the Central Military Commissions on Monday. The conference reviewed and assessed the leadership performance in implementing military and defense tasks in 2024 and discussed policies and solutions for 2025.
The Party General Secretary praised the Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense for their leadership in implementing the party's directives and state management. They had upheld the traditions of Uncle Ho's soldiers, overcoming challenges and successfully completing military, national defense, and party-building tasks. He emphasized that Vietnam faces both opportunities and challenges, requiring the party, people, and army to work together with determination to achieve the 2025 goals, including those in the military, national defense, and party building. He noted that the army is central to building and defending the country. The Party General Secretary asked it to strengthen combat readiness and implement key breakthroughs in training and education. The party general secretary also urged the Central Military Commission and Ministry of National Defense to strengthen the Army's role in national defense, civil defense, and international integration. He stressed the need for a strong and exemplary Army Party Committee. Finally, he called for promptly disseminating policies and decisions to ensure all officers and soldiers understand them. He encouraged their determination to meet the 2025 goals and the targets set by the 11th Party Congress.
Prime Minister Phie Minh on Monday welcomed the governor of Yamaguchi Province, Japan's Muraoka Tsutsumasa, and praised the successful cooperation between Yamaguchi and Bingzhou provinces over the past decade. This relationship contributed to strengthening the Vietnam-Japan Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. The Prime Minister encouraged the Yamaguchi Provincial Authority to collaborate further with Bingzhou and other Vietnamese localities in trade, investment, and business expansion while increasing the imports of Vietnamese goods. He highlighted Vietnam's focus on strategic breakthroughs in institutions, infrastructure, and human resources to improve productivity and competitiveness, urging Japan to support these efforts and enhance labor cooperation and training. For his part, Governor Muraoka confirmed the province's strong support for cooperation with Vietnam, noting the large number of Vietnamese workers in Yamaguchi and committed to continuing these efforts. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn chaired the second meeting on Monday to review the implementation of Resolution number 18 regarding the reorganization and streamlining of the central government's apparatus. The draft proposal aims to reduce the number of agencies under the National Assembly and its Standing Committee by nearly 36% and the National Assembly office departments by over 40%. Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn emphasized that the restructuring should align with the Central Committee spirit and involve clear communication with civil servants to ensure understanding and support. He called for urgent revision to relevant laws and policies and careful coordination between agencies to ensure a smooth transfer of tasks and personnel. The restructuring must maintain balance and ensure all tasks are conducted without operational interruptions. The chairman instructed the steering committee to immediately begin implementing tasks to ensure completion by December 18, 2024. According to the State Bank of Vietnam, as of December 13, total credit growth across the economy increased by approximately 12.5% compared to the end of last year. This is also a key period for businesses to settle outstanding debt and secure new funding in preparation for the upcoming year's production and business plans.
This farm needs about 416,000 USDs to upgrade its automated pigsty system, which has been in operation for several years. The breeding sows are also due for replacement to ensure higher productivity in the next cycle.
Loan rates range from 4 to 6% per year, which is reasonable for farmers. We are currently working closely with the Vietnam Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development.
The average lending interest rate has decreased by approximately 0.96% per year compared to the end of last year, despite a recent slight increase in deposit interest rates in recent weeks.
Higher demand deposits helps reduce funding costs, which leads to lowers interest rates for customers.
Deposit interest rates have risen by about 59 basis points since April, so there isn't much room left for further increases.
In late November, the State Bank of Vietnam granted many commercial banks a second adjustment to their credit growth targets, allowing them to introduce appropriate credit packages. The loan disbursement process has also seen improvements.
About 50% of loan applications are now approved and dispersed automatically. This allows us to meet consumer needs more quickly. Our goal for 2025 is for 70% of loans to be processed via digital platforms.
In the remaining 2 weeks of December, credit growth needs to reach an additional 2.5%.
The largest 500 kilovolt transformer designed and manufactured in Vietnam will begin operating on Monday. Đông Anh Electrical Equipment Corporation held a ceremony to launch the final switch on of the design and manufacture of 500 kilovolt transformer project. The 500 kilovolt transformer has passed the International Electrotechnical Commission's IEC factory test standards. This achievement is the final step for the Vietnamese company in designing, producing, and connecting a 500 kilovolt transformer to the country's power transmission grid. Developing organic and circular agriculture towards green farming is the trend for sustainable production. However, due to many obstacles to widespread development, the country currently has only a modest 75,000 hectares of organic agricultural land, accounting for just 0.5% of total agricultural land.
Wildflowers and grass. No one would think that this was once an organic garden. Although some farmers were passionate about organic farming and experimented with new methods, most efforts were abandoned after a few years due to costs 5 to 6 times higher than conventional methods and the market's difficulty accepting the higher prices.
Organic farming yields are lower and take more time. Prices are often not agreed upon between farmers and customers at harvest.
Following the organic farming process to achieve a productive farm is difficult, and obtaining certification is even harder. After 12 years, this farm produces organic vegetables, but the packaging label is still at this level.
International organic certification is valid for 1 year, while Vietnam's lasts 2 years. However, the high certification cost means producers must earn higher profits to offset it.
Improving the guidance system, publicizing standard organic input materials, and providing financial support during the initial conversion period is essential to encouraging farmers to produce organic products.
According to the Department of Crop Production, in addition to policies promoting organic agriculture, it is time to define organic production areas linked to key agricultural products. A connection between farmers and businesses to jointly produce organic goods will make finding outlets for these products easier.
Coming up next on VTV News. Light on in southwestern coastal islands. And 112 new species discovered in Vietnam. Starting next year, Hanoi will pilot a low-emission zone to address air pollution, as outlined in Article 28 of the Capital Law and approved by the City People's Council. The zone will ban heavy diesel trucks and restrict vehicles failing to meet Euro 4 for cars and Euro 2 for motorbike standards, with measures varying by area and time. From 2025 to 2030, the pilot will focus on parts of Hoàn Kiếm and Ba Đình district. From 2031, low-emission zones will expand to areas with frequent traffic congestion or poor air quality, as identified in the city planning for 2030-2050. Hanoi is the first locality in the country to pilot low-emission zones. The policy applies to road motor vehicles users within these zones, as well as agencies and organizations responsible for the zone establishment and management. What do the public and environmental experts think about the plan? And let's find out.
Starting next year, old motorbikes and diesel-powered vehicles may be banned or restricted from entering low-emission zones. residents are encouraged to use public transport or vehicles powered by clean energy and fuel.
The air pollution compromises my long-term health, so I think this solution is appropriate.
Gradually, Hanoi can transform its traffic culture to create a cleaner city.
Hanoi currently has over 6.9 million motorbikes, more than 70% have been in use for over 10 years. Old motorbikes that are not properly maintained according to manufacturer recommendations, as well as diesel trucks and taxis, contribute to higher levels of toxic emissions.
It is essential to coordinate closely with the Department of Transport for Vehicle Regulation and the Department of Natural Resources and Environment for emission monitoring.
Motorbikes are the main mode of transportation for residents, making alternative public transportation essential to reducing vehicle pollution in the city.
It improves air quality but may raise costs and limit residents' mobility. A comprehensive plan, not just restrictions, is needed to boost public transport with incentives and additional measures.
The city will offer financial support for exchanging old vehicles for new, eco-friendly ones, and may impose fees on polluting vehicles to reduce emissions.
Investing in electricity infrastructure in border and islands area is a priority, aligning with the major policies of the party and state. In collaboration with the Phú Quốc City, the electricity sector is working to expand the power grid, extending coverage to all the Kiên Giang province islands in the Southwest Sea.
Tô Châu, one of 3 island communes in Kiên Giang, lacks connection to the national electricity grid. Nearly 2,000 residents rely on diesel and renewable energy, and power is available for only about 18 hours a day, often interrupting production activities.
When notified of a power outage due to a broken machine, we often have to wait for it to be fixed.
Tô Châu, an island commune on the front line, urgently needs a stable power supply for economic development and border security.
We hope for a 24/7 power supply to boost tourism and support daily life, business, and production.
Southern Power Corporation surveyed Kiên Giang's island communes to assess the electricity supply and identify suitable locations for power grid infrastructure.
In 2025, we will invest in a 110 kilovolt transformer station on Horn Sơn Island to lay the foundation for future electricity supply to the southwestern islands.
Vietnam Electricity Group currently supplies electricity to 11 of 12 island districts and is working to provide a stable supply to islands and southern archipelagos with growing economic demand.
A patient who underwent a lung transfer over 6 months ago at the Central Lung Hospital was discharged on Monday. This marked the hospital's 3rd lung transplant and the 12th nationwide. Lung transplants are among the most complex procedures in organ transplantation. The 39-year-old female patient diagnosed with a rare disease had only months to live without a transplant. In May 2024, she received 2 lungs from a brain-dead donor after a challenging 10-hour surgery. Despite complications including kidney damage, infections, and lung rejections, the patient is now living independently and walking, and her lungs are functioning well. 112 new species have been discovered in Vietnam, including 106 endemic species that cannot be found elsewhere. This data, published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature (WWF), is based on research from hundreds of renowned scientists worldwide. Notable discoveries include the bright orange crocodile salamander, which lived at an altitude of 1,800 meters to 2,300 meters, a starfish-shaped orchid, a shrew weighing only 8 grams, which is one of the world's lightest land mammals, and a soft-haired porcupine with sharp fangs named the vampire. Many of these species are endangered, highlighting the urgent need to protect them and their habitats. A delegation of young volunteers from the Hanoi branch of the Missionary Training Center under the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints gathered at a meeting with the Vietnam Union of Friendship Organization in Hanoi on Monday. The reception for the church volunteer delegation affirmed Vietnam recognitions of its charitable activity in Vietnam.
Since the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was officially recognized by the Vietnamese government in 2016, the church annually dispatches 1 to 2 groups of volunteers to support its religious operations in Vietnam. During the conference, young members of the church expressed their happiness as they contributed to charity projects in Vietnam. This great opportunity gave them valuable insights into Vietnam's history, culture, and people.
I am grateful and honored to serve volunteer missions in Vietnam and help others improve their lives.
The people here have been so welcoming and so loving, and that is something that I want to give back to them and share the love that we have for them. And something I love about Vietnam is the patience they've had with us.
I am grateful for those who sacrificed to defend this nation. It's a great honor for me to serve my fatherland.
Mr. Robert Howell, the president of the Hanoi mission of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Vietnam, highly appreciated the Vietnamese government as it implements favorable policies for the church's members to practice their religious rituals and beliefs in Vietnam.
We are very grateful to be in Vietnam and to have the permission to meet together, to worship together, and to help other people. We have 11 branches, congregations of our church here in Vietnam, and the church is growing here. We just feel very pleased and honored that we have permission and we are supported in the things that we're trying to accomplish, which is trying to help other people have a happier life.
This country is wonderful. It's a very beautiful country with a lot of wonderful and beautiful people. Very kind and friendly. We all have our right to choose. We all have our right to follow a religion of choice.
Currently, there are more than 1,000 members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Vietnam. This demonstrates the Vietnamese government's efforts to respect and secure freedom of religion and belief through its constitution, laws, and policies.
Coming up next in our war news, intensify contact with Syrian transitional government. And Typhoon Theo causes heavy damage in Indian Ocean. The United Nations and the European Union are stepping up diplomatic efforts with the transitional government in Syria to help the country regain stability. The EU envoy to Syria headed to Damascus on Monday. Earlier, the UN Special Envoy for Syria met with the leader of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and the Prime Minister of the Syrian Transitional Government, Mohammed al-Bahi, in Damascus on Sunday. The UN stressed the importance of restoring Syria's unity and territorial integrity and paving the way for reconstruction and economic development. Russia has launched a criminal investigation into why 2 oil tankers collided during the storms and split oil into the Kerch Strait. Investigators will probe possible safety violations after the Volganev 212 tanker broke in two and sank while the Volganev 239 tanker continued to drift. The incident killed 1 person, injured 11 others, and caused an oil spill. There were 27 crew members on board the 2 vessels, each with a capacity of about 4,200 tons of oil. More than 50 rescue workers and an Mi-8 helicopters and a tugboat have been deployed. However, rescue efforts have been suspended due to bad weather. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered a working group to coordinate rescue operations and address the incident. Thousands of people are feared dead after Typhoon Theo swept through the islands of Mayotte, a French overseas region, leaving behind devastation not seen in 90 years. Exact figures for the death toll are difficult to determine, but local authorities have expressed concern that the tolls could be in the thousands. Initial report put the death toll at a minimum of 14 people, with more than 250 injured. Typhoon Chiro, with gusts up to 226 km per hour, had destroyed many residential areas on the island. In Mozambique, the meteorological agency warned that Typhoon Chiro could bring gusts up to 260 km per hour, and rainfall could exceed 250 mm within 24 hours. According to experts, Typhoon Chiro is part of a series of storms that have been intensified by climate change, with the unusually warm water temperatures in the Indian Ocean. As the sun rises above the horizon, An Gu-hang began his daily routine by opening 56 well valves to water trees as he patrols a 4-kilometer stretch of the Tarim Desert Highway. This road runs through the heart of the Telemakan Desert, the world's second-largest shifting desert. Once the vaults are opened and ensure that the saline alkali water pumped 80 meters underground is flowing smoothly.
Most of the drip irrigation pipelines are buried under the sand, so Anne must clear the sand to inspect the pipelines carefully. Originally from Shanxi province, the 60-year-old man has spent 9 years in this desert. Thanks to his meticulous care, the trees along the road have grown lush and green.
I take care of these trees like my own children. I feel joyful when I see these trees.
It's not easy for trees to survive in the desert, let alone for people. Anne recalls the early days when he first arrived in 2016.
When I came here in 2016, my face was flaky from the dry air in May. I thought I would work for 6 months or maybe a year. Gradually, I got used to it. I realized that a day passes, whether it's filled with hardship or joy. The desert may be desolate, but lives are not.
At night, the starry sky over the desert often leaves visitors in awe, but for Anne and his wife, it signals the end of a long workday. Despite the loneliness and physical toil of enduring 6 months of sandstorms, the couple remains dedicated to guarding this green belt along the road.
One generation planted trees, and future generations enjoy the shade. Here, though, we must preserve the trees already planted. Only by taking good care of the trees can we ensure the road is well protected.
When the weather gets cold from late October to March, evaporation decreases, making watering unnecessary. This gives the couple a 4-month break. During this time, they usually return to their hometown. Before leaving, Anne always visits his favorite Populus euphratica tree.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download the mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.